Some tourists come to Italy for the history, some for the food or the beauty, but most tourists end up getting caught off guard by Italy's cultural minefield. And if you don't know the unwritten rules, you can end up wasting a lot of money, getting kicked out of famous landmarks, or offending the locals. So today I'm going to give you 12 unwritten rules every tourist needs to know before you land in Italy. I'm Gary with Optimal Travel. Let's get started. When I go to Italy and I want a coffee, I usually get a traditional cafe, which is a straight espresso. But I know a lot of people like a little more milk and something else mixed in, and you might want to order something like a cappuccino. But in Italy, a cappuccino is strictly a breakfast drink. And after 11 o'clock, if you order a cappuccino, it'll be a clear sign that you're a tourist. And some locals actually get a little offended by that. If you want something more than a regular coffee later in the day, your best bet is to order something like a macchiato or a coffee with a liquor put in it. These are drinks that Italians drink all day long, well into the night, and you won't stick out like a sore thumb. I was recently at a nice Italian restaurant in Rome, and they have brought out some olive oil and Parmesan cheese to enjoy with some bread as kind of an appetizer before the pasta dishes got there. But when the pasta came, my son had ordered a seafood pasta, and he reached for that spoon to put some of that Parmesan cheese on his pasta, and the waiter came right over and told him to stop. This is a thing in Italy. You do not put Parmesan cheese on seafood at all, whether it be pasta or fish. And there are some other small obscure things that have to do with that, but this is the biggest one, and you'll be caught off guard because in many cases, they will say something if they catch you doing this. Growing up in the US, whenever my mom made spaghetti, I always either used a knife and fork or a spoon to help me with it. But in Italy, this is a big no-no. It's best to get used to twirling your pasta with only a fork, because if they catch you using other utensils, that is also an invitation for them to come and correct you. It is a cultural norm in Italy, and it is a particular way to eat pasta. You just need to use the fork and swirl it on there. It took a little practice for me, and I still probably don't have it down perfectly, but at least if you try, you'll blend in a little better.
Another thing that Italians do is la scarpetta. This is when you use bread from the coperto and you dip it in your plate until you clean all the sauce out of it. This is delicious and they're very used to it.
One thing I realized right away when I first went to Italy is that Italians are very serious about their food. And when they want to eat something, they sit down and eat it and enjoy it. Even when they just want a cup of coffee. You won't see Italians taking coffee in a takeaway cup and walking down the street and drinking it. If they want a quick coffee, they'll just stand at the bar, finish the coffee, and leave. The only thing you'll really see Italians eat and walk with is gelato. So if you want a piece of pizza and you're kind of having a little craving and you grab one at a cafe somewhere, keep in mind that if you carry that down the street and start eating it as you're walking, that'll be an instant sign that you are a tourist. Next, I'm going to get to a few rules that'll end up saving you money. A friend of mine recently got back from a trip to Italy, and he was complaining to me about how expensive it was to eat at restaurants there. He said not only do they have a cover charge, also known as coperto, but he was leaving a 20% tip on top of the bill. And I explained to him that that's not part of Italian culture. They're not heavy tippers. If you really like the service, leave an extra euro or two on the table. That's it. That's all that you need to do. And he told me that at some restaurants where they have some of these new machines like the square type machines, they would turn it over to him and there would be an option to select 15, 20%. I told him just select 0%. That has nothing to do with Italian culture. That's just some modern technology trying to squeeze in an extra sale on there. So when you're in Italy, Feel confident that you don't have to leave any tip on the bill. The waitstaff there are not paid like they are in the US. They're paid a reasonable wage. And so if you want to, you can leave a small extra tip. But if you leave a big extra tip, it's really unexpected. Recently, when I was in Italy, I was surprised at how many things are becoming more automated with credit card readers or just credit card scanners so that you can basically tap and go at a lot of places that before you had to have cash, including some bathrooms. But there are still a lot of times where you're going to come into a situation where you need a euro coin or a 50-cent coin. So it's a good idea to carry a few coins around with you just in case. There are still some public bathrooms where you'll need a coin to get in. And if you walk up to a bar and you just want to order an espresso, that might just cost €1, and it's best to just have a coin so that you're not putting that on your credit card.
Another important thing to have while you're in Italy is a good eSIM card that will get you connected, either to speak with family back home or to move around using GPS or Google Things you need. We always use Saley, and we have a link in our description that if you use it, you'll get discount.
Every time I go to Italy, I always bring multiple credit cards with me. And this is because when you travel abroad, even if you notify your credit card company that you're going to be traveling, sometimes those charges will get flagged as potential fraud. Sometimes your card will be locked. And if you're in a situation where you're trying to pay for something, you don't really want to be taking 10 minutes to call up your credit card and get that situation resolved. Instead, if you have multiple cards, you can just pull out another card, pay for that, and then resolve that situation with the other carrier later. And this has come in handy for me on more than one occasion because there's nothing more embarrassing than standing in a checkout line and having a card declined for potential fraud and not having a backup option. And the last thing you want to do is use your debit card at a checkout, because if there were to be any fraud done, it's much better to have it on a credit card. That's much easier to fix a fraud problem than on a debit card where the money's already pulled out of your account. I've learned the hard way in Italy that the only way you really want to get a taxi is through an app like Uber. Because while there are taxi stations, or you can have somebody call a cab for you or pick one up at a popular spot like the airport, if you just get in a cab there, you have no idea what the right charge is, whether or not they're going to be using their meter and following the rules, and a lot of tourists get ripped off by taxi drivers. But if you use an app like Uber, you can get a taxi to whatever location you're at, and the fee will be paid directly through Uber, so you'll know ahead of time what the charge is, and you won't be dealing or negotiating any prices directly with the taxi driver. Now, Uber in general is not available throughout Italy, so when you use the app, you're only going to see an option to order a taxi. But if you need one, that's the way to do it. Next, I'm going to get to one unwritten rule that locks tourists out of the very places they came to see. But first, if you would take a minute and subscribe to our channel, hit that like button. It helps us grow, and you won't miss our next video. I've been to many religious places and sites in Italy, including the Vatican or the Duomo in Florence, and it goes without being said that they follow a strict dress code. You have to have shoulders and knees covered, including children. So if you're traveling with children, they have to also follow this dress code, or you could be turned away and denied entry. You might have bought tickets for the Vatican, and they're usually timed, so you have a certain window when you have to be there, so you don't have time to go back to your hotel and change. Make sure you plan ahead so you don't get denied entry into one of the iconic places you came to see.
It's easy for Italians to tell if you're a tourist because they dress in a specific way. That's why Milano is one of the capitals of fashion. So if you want to blend in, don't be afraid to use the local shops, linen, and all these other fabrics that are local, and you'll fit in better.
The big cities in Italy, like Rome, have free clean drinking fountains throughout that you can use to fill up a tumbler or a water bottle so that you can stay hydrated without having to buy bottles of water all over the place. And this is what Italians do. In fact, even in smaller cities, you will find these fountains throughout because that's what they're used to. So if you're constantly buying €2 and €3 bottles of water throughout your trip, that's going to add up. This can actually save you quite a bit of money. I've actually put a link in my description to a tumbler that I use. It works great, keeps that water cold all day long, and you can refill it for free anywhere you find one of these fountains. But if you ever see a sign on the fountain that says acqua non potabile, that means it's not drinkable, so just skip that one. A lot of North Americans that I talk to are shocked to find out that in Italy, restaurants typically close somewhere between 3 and 7:30 p.m. That means they're open for lunch and they close and open back late for dinner. And if you find a restaurant that is open all day long, it's most likely a tourist trap and not an authentic Italian restaurant. Those you want to avoid altogether. So if you're going to eat at restaurants in Italy, you need to plan around the Italian clock.
During the time when restaurants are closed, if you're hungry, you can still find snack bars or cafes. You'll find food or snacks, but just not made to order food at that time.
I've been to some countries in Europe where the trains and the buses run exactly to the minute on time. But in Italy, there's a little more laid back feel. That's not always the case. So plan to allow a little bit of extra time to get where you're going. Oftentimes your bus or train will be running a little bit late. And then they have these chaperones from time to time, which are legally authorized transit strikes. The nice thing is they are controlled by a government agency so that everything doesn't get shut down. The trains and buses in certain cities, when they have these strikes, will just run less frequently. So you have to also plan around that. So now that you know some of the unwritten Italian cultural rules, there are a lot of tourists that come to Italy unprepared because they packed the wrong things. I'll tell you how to avoid this right here.